Woo! What's going on, guys? Owens Forum coming at you today with another video. Today's video is the aftermath, Week 6. The Detroit Lions going up to face the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Lions winning this football game, going up to 4-1. Dallas Cowboys falling to 3-3. The Lions come into this. They come into this football game, another NFC matchup, going into Jerry's world and laying the smackdown on the Dallas Cowboys, 47-9. An absolute shellacking of a football game, but a bittersweet victory. We'll get to that in a minute. With the injuries, obviously, the inactive Lions, we had a couple guys out, Davenport IR, Barnes IR. We were fairly healthy going into this football game. Melifon out too as well, but we were pretty healthy. Defensive tackle Kyle Pico, I think he got hurt in the first quarter. He did have a pectoral issue, not sure how severe, but he did leave the first quarter and never returned. And the big one was defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, broken tibia. It was probably the best news that we could hear from that. It's a terrible news, obviously, man. Breaking news. He's out for the season, done. The speculation that if it heals well, he could be back in time for late in the playoffs, Super Bowl run. But, it's usually a 4 to 6 month injury. Better to be a broken tibia than I guess it is to be a compound fracture, with no piercing of the skin or anything like that. It was a clean break. They emergency surgery right away in Dallas, Texas. I don't think he's even back in Detroit just yet. Maybe he's there for another day. He'll be flying back soon, or however. But they're gonna have to get him. His spirits and stuff like that. Get him up, and then he's done for the year, man. It sucks because I'm not gonna dwell on it too much. I'm probably gonna make a video on this about what the Lions should do and talk about the situation. It was a fluke injury, man. It's just a fluke injury. He was actually sacking Dak Prescott at the time, and his leg swung around. Aleem McNeil coming through, his own teammate, hitting him right in the lower shin, shattering his whole his lower leg, from his shin down, his high shin down. Luckily, it wasn't a knee, I guess. I'm trying to make light of it. It's impossible to. He's a superstar. It's going to hurt our defense. I don't think it's going to take us out of the running, but it's going to hurt. I think the Lions should do something, but we will get to that in a bit. But I'm just going to talk about this football game. But yeah, it's a huge loss. Number 97, vibes up to Aiden Hutchinson right there, and hopefully for a nice, clean recovery, and he can be back for 2025 and wreak havoc again. Now for the Cowboys, man, they were banged up, and that's guys like Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Eric Hendricks, Deron Bland, Brandon Cooks. They had 4, 5, 6 guys out that were pretty key guys for the Dallas Cowboys, and it showed in this football game. But let's talk about the stats. Lions first because they have the road team. Jared Goff was phenomenal again. 18 for 25, 315 yards, 72 completion percentage, 3 touchdowns. He was sacked twice, no picks, 153.8 rating. He was near perfect again. Just an awesome game for Jared Goff and these Lions. Quarterback, it got so out of hand. Quarterback Hendon Hooker came in. He went 1 for 2 for 19 yards. He was sacked once as well too. Goff was fantastic. And I will talk about that in a bit too. But let's just get over these stats. Running back David Montgomery, clean after getting fresh off. I'm getting a new extension, a new 2-year extension on his already 2 years left on his deal already. He was 12 for 80, 6.7 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. His first touchdown run was a work of art. He is impossible to take down. He running over guys, stiff arming dudes. They tried to pull him down with the shirt. He just did a spin move. He's just an animal. He's just a fantastic running back right now at the moment. He's unstoppable. He's a train. He's 235 pounds worth of fury right now. The running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, he was 12 for 63, 5.3 yards a carry. And then even Craig Reynolds got some time in. I think his first time of the year. He was 6 for 21, 3.5. He did have a fumble, though. And the running back Sione Vaikai was getting in there too. He was 1 for 5 as well, 205 yards carry, over 180, over 180 yards rushing as a whole, 184 to be exact. So they did their job on the ground, and it's something that I thought they were going to do and accomplished. So receiving, wide receiver Jameson Williams was 3 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. Had a later touchdown taken away from him too. 25.3 yards a catch, 4 targets. He's just electric with the football. Caught a touchdown on a nice deep pass, blew right by Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs actually tried to face mask him and then tried to tackle him. Actually on that play, no flag. I thought the flags were a little bit ridiculous too as well. I'm not gonna sit there and complain about it, but it's just I thought they were a little bit flag happy again on us and not really on the Cowboys. It's just kind of always what it's been. But Trayvon Diggs literally tried to tackle Jameson Williams before he even got the football. He blew right by him, and but he had a good day, and he's just electric with the football in his hands. Then wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown was 4 for 37. He did score a touchdown though, 9.3 yards a catch on 4 targets. Wide receiver Khalif Raymond was 4 for 73 yards, 18.3 yards a catch, 6 targets. Wide receiver Tim Patrick, 3 for 68, 22.7 yards a catch, 3 targets. Tim Patrick is really settling in as his wide receiver 3 now, guys. He's literally the new Josh Reynolds. He is. He's pretty much the same guy. Probably a little bit more athletic, I would think. He's longer, that's for sure. And he almost had a touchdown. Actually, he had a touchdown taken away. It looked like he really got in there. Then tight end Sam Laporta. He was 1 for 52 with the touchdown. 52 yards a catch, obviously. And only on 1 target. It was a flea flicker play. Boom, boom, boom. It was like handed off to Montgomery's, flipped to Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra flipped it back to Goff. And then something along that line. And then it was a nice little flea flicker. And Laporta was wide open. Beautiful throw by Jared Goff. And Laporta went rumbling in. It looked like he kind of pulled up a little bit limp on that touchdown run too as well. Looked like he was kind of stiff-legging it when he was. They got at about the 10-yard line. Looked like he cramped up because you saw him on the sidelines later on that game, kind of like trying to stretch out his knee or his quad. It looked like something happened there. But he was only targeted once the whole game. That was his only target. But it was nice to get him into the end zone. I think Laporta needed that. Then running back Jahmyr Gibbs, he had 3 catches for 28 yards on 5 targets, 9.3 yards a catch. So the offense was spectacular once again. 40-plus points, I think, back-to-back seasons. They haven't done that, I think, in a while. In a long time. It's been years since I think they did back-to-back 40-plus points. Looking like the best offense in the league right now. And like I know Dallas had guys out. I know about Parsons and Eric Kendricks and DeMarcus Lawrence. I get it, man. But this offense is legit. They are a legit offense, and they're really starting to gel right now. The defense for the Lions, cornerback Amik Robinson had 7 tackles. Linebacker Jack Campbell had 7 tackles. I think he might have had a forced fumble too. Safety, I don't think I wrote that down. Brian Branch had probably, our strong safety, probably had the game of his life. He had a fantastic game. 6 tackles, 2 pass deflections. He had a forced fumble on a really beautiful punch out, 2 interceptions, a quarterback hit. He was all over the field. And then defensive tackle Lee McNeil had a really nice game. 4 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a couple sacks, and 3 quarterback hits. Man, he played really well on the inside. Then safety Kirby Joseph, 4 tackles, pass deflection, and he had an interception as well at the end of the game. Pretty much, he has got 4 interceptions in 5 games. He's having a stud year. Linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez had 3 tackles and a fumble recovery. Linebacker Trevor Nowaski had 3 tackles, tackle for loss, a sack, and a quarterback hit. Cornerback Enos Rakestraw got some playing time. He had 3 tackles, the rookie out of Miz. Defensive end Ian Hutchinson had 3 tackles, tackle for loss, a sack, and 3 quarterback hits. Linebacker Alex Anzalone, 3 tackles, 2 pass deflections. Cornerback Carlton Davis III, who kind of got rung up a little bit with a concussion. He had 2 tackles, 2 pass deflections. Defensive lineman Josh Pascal came in, 2 tackles, tackle for loss, 1 quarterback hit, and that tackle for loss was on Ezekiel Elliott, and it sounded like thunder when he made that tackle. He burst in. One thing that Pascal is good at, and I won't take that away from him, He's a phenomenal run stopper. And he got into the line of scrimmage and he busts through. He busts through and he lit up Ezekiel Elliott. You could hear it probably from miles away. It was a big, big hit. And then cornerback Terrion Arnold, I thought had a pretty good game. Rookie, 2 tackles, pass deflection. He had a fumble recovery as well. He made a really nice stop on a 3rd down in about 3 or 4 yards. Kind of almost went, it was a borderline penalty. Went over the top, swatted the ball away. It was kind of at the same time, so it could have been called, but I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad the referees let them play that out. It was a really good defensive play, I thought. I thought he played a lot better. Then nose tackle DJ Reader had 2 tackles and a quarterback hit. Nose tackle Kyle Pico had a tackle and a quarterback hit as well. 11 quarterback hits, 4 sacks, 3 interceptions on the day. Defense was fantastic. Then Jake Bates, 4 for 4 on field goals with a 48 long and hit all 5 extra points. Now let's go to the Cowboys. Quarterback Dak Prescott was 17 for 33, 178 yards, 2 picks, sacked 4 times, 51% completion percentage. He was getting banged up all day. Then quarterback Cooper Rush came in with 8 for 11, 46 yards, and an interception as well. Running back Rico Dowdell, 5 for 25, 5 yards a carry. And then running back Ezekiel Elliott, 8 for 17 yards, 2.1 yards a carry, 53-yard rushing on the day. They could not get it going whatsoever, and I never thought they were going to begin with. Then receiving, wide receiver CeeDee Lamb with 7 catches for 89 yards, 12.7 yards a catch. He was targeted 14 times. Couldn't get him the ball. Wide receiver Jalen Tolbert was 4 for 43, 10.8 yards a catch, 5 targets. Running back Rico Dowdell was 5 for 30 on 6 yards a catch, 6 targets. Wide receiver Cavante Turpin was 4 catches for 24 yards on 6 yards a catch, 7 targets. He had a really nice return too as well in the game a little bit, I think in the second half. Then tight end Jake Henderson had just 3 for 11 with 3.7 yards a catch on 4 targets. So not a lot of guys did a lot of damage, man. CeeDee Lamb I thought was going to have a better day. Tolbert I thought was going to have a better day. We shut those guys down pretty good. Then defensively, not much to talk about for the Cowboys. They let up a lot of points, but they have some guys that put up some stats if you want to hear them. Linebacker Damone Clark had 9 tackles, tackle for loss, pass deflection, quarterback hit, and he did have half a sack. Safety Donovan Wilson had 7 tackles, tackle for loss, a hit on the quarterback, and a sack as well. Cornerback Amani Oruwariye, 5 tackles, pass deflection, old Detroit Lion there. Defensive end Chauncey Golston, 5 tackles, tackle for loss, quarterback hit, and half a sack as well. Linebacker Malik Hooker had 5 tackles. Linebacker DeMarvion Overshown, 4 tackles. Defensive tackles Osa Odigizua, 4 tackles and a quarterback hit. Cornerback Jordan Lewis had 4 tackles, and he ran his mouth a little bit to St. Brown. They were going on a little bit too, and a little bit back and forth on Instagram. Apparently, there's something out there with Jordan Lewis calling St. Brown, calling him a bitch. He's calling him a little bit of a bitch. Something about he got into his DMs and he got a little bit salty. Because Amon-Ra made an IG live or something after the football game, and he called him whatever. He called him that name there, called him the B word, and a little bit salty. Jordan Lewis, tisk, boy, don't be too mad, brother. Don't get too mad, my friend. You know what I mean? Don't act like a child. Don't act like a little boy. You got abused. That's it. The whole team got abused, man. You didn't have a bad day. I wouldn't even say you would have had a bad day, Mr. Lewis, but I don't know if it was even you that gave up the touchdown to Amon-Ra. I don't think it was, but you don't got to be calling people the B word. Smarten up, my friend. Smarten up. And then defensive end KJ Henry, 3 tackles, tackle for loss, quarterback hit, and a sack. He had nice coming out for him. Defensive end Carl Lawson, 2 tackles, a couple quarterback hits. Kicker Brandon Aubrey was the only offense that this offense did, and he threw for 3 in field goals with a long of 50. Now, we're going to talk about some team stats. We'll get on that right away. Talk about the Lions first. Team stats: first downs 27. Third downs we were 4 for 10. Fourth downs we were 1 for 2. We rushed for 184, passed for 308. Total 492 yards. Nice day. Sacks, we had 4 sacks for 26 yards. Interceptions thrown, Goff threw 0. Punts, average, we didn't punt once. Jack Fox had a nice, easy day, collected a really nice check for doing nothing all day. He might be our placeholder for kicks, though. He could be our placeholder, but he had a very nice day. He didn't do nothing. And then penalty wise, we had 8 for 63 yards. Fumbles lost. We had 1 fumble, but no loss. Possession, we had the ball 34 minutes and 43 seconds. So, and then the Cowboys, they had 16 first downs. We had more. They were 3 for 13, terrible. Fourth downs, they were 1 for 4. Rushing the ball, 53 yards. Passing, 198. Total, 251. Yikes. Sacks, they had 3 sacks for 26 yards. 26 yards. Interceptions thrown, Dak threw 3. Oh, Dak threw 2. I believe Cooper Rush threw 1. I think that's what it was. Yeah, Dak threw 2, and Cooper Rush threw the other one. So 3 altogether for the Dallas Cowboy quarterbacks. And then punts, they had 2 punts for 46.5 yards. Penalties, they had 4 for 30. There you go. Fumbles, they had 2 fumbles and 2 loss. Possession, 25 minutes and 17 seconds. So across the board, Detroit Lions owned this football game. It was a complete, utter disaster for the Cowboys from the start. Now, talking about this game, our offense did phenomenal. Nothing to complain about. O-line did well. Blocking was phenomenal, and for Goff and the running backs, David Montgomery is a beast. Jahmyr Gibbs did his thing, didn't get in the end zone, but had a nice average. But Montgomery's just the real deal. A couple touchdowns again, 80 yards. He's having a Pro Bowl, All Pro year. He really is right now. And then offensively through the air, Goff was fantastic. J-Mo, electric. He's not just a gadget guy. Just a guy that can go deep. That is his bread and butter. He can go deep. There's not many corners that can cover him, especially if he gets 1 foot on you. It's done. He gets a step on you. He's gone. And he showed that against one of the better corners in the NFL. Trayvon Diggs is an all-pro corner. He's the real deal. Like I said, he likes to take a little chances. He took a chance on trying to stop J-Mo on that touchdown throw where grabbed him by the face mask and tried to tackle him. And then still no flag, and he still ran right by the guy. Goff found him. Goff hit him. Goff hit him deep, too, over 20-plus yards. The throw was 30 yards, whatever the touchdown was. It was a beautiful throw. It was a beautiful throw and catch. And then Amon-Ra didn't have a huge day numbers-wise, but got in the end zone again on a nice little route in the corner, right in the front of the end zone there. And made a nice little move. Quarterback was on him, too. It was a really good throw by Goff, and he just got in there. Good to see Laporta get in there. Tim Patrick is really starting to show that he is the wide receiver 3 here now. It's his job. It's his job. He stays healthy. Knock on wood. Knock. You know what I mean? Knock on wood. I just don't want to knock over the camera. He is doing what Josh Reynolds was doing in this offense last year. He's completely doing the exact same thing. And I love it. And then Ben Johnson just doing his thing, man. He was being tricky. A lot of people want to be like, oh, Ben Johnson and Campbell were trying to rub it into the Cowboys, throwing out Sewell out there on plays, Dan Skipper running routes. Hey, man, this was a showcase. This was a showcase of probably what we're really about. Now, I'm not saying we would have done this to the Cowboys if all their guys were healthy, but we got some guys out too, but they did have more superstars out. I'm not going to deny that. It probably wouldn't have been a shellacking like it was. We beat them by 38 points. It wouldn't have happened if you were Parsons, Lawrence, Cooks, all those guys are in there. No, but we would have won this football game. We definitely would have won this football game. This was an ass kicking. This wasn't supposed to happen, even with those guys out. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not on Jerry's 82nd birthday. This was not supposed to happen. So this was an ass kicking through and through. In the defense, they did what they did. They stopped the run that doesn't exist in Dallas. They held. Every time you've seen Dak Prescott go back, it felt like he got hit. He got hit 11 times, I think, onto the ground. The hurries were there. The pressures were there. He was never comfortable once in that game. First drive, he looked a little bit comfortable. Then he threw the pick, the branch in the end zone. Then after that, it was like he just didn't look comfortable. They just pressured him. Glenn did dial up some blitzes. You saw Trevor Nowaski, a linebacker, getting in on there. for a sack, which is really good to see. Hutchinson doing his thing. McNeil finally getting on that board. Getting a couple sacks. What we need him to be now, especially. The defense showed up. They did everything. Stopped the run. Limited Dak Prescott big time. He didn't throw any touchdowns. No touchdowns for that team. I don't know if that's even happened in Jerry's world. I forget. I think there was a stat out there that they haven't been blanked out like that. I could be wrong, but 9 points. 9 points at home is an embarrassment because most of your offense was healthy. Like 95% of it. Cooks was out. Pretty sure your O-line was intact. You had all your wide receivers except Cook. Like I said, your tight ends were there. So it's not really an excuse, man, for your offense anyways. Your offense couldn't do jack. That offense couldn't do jack, and they showed, and that defense showed up. And then when Hutch went out, man, it seemed like they kind of were playing for Hutch. They kind of pinned their ears back. They were up by about 21, 28 points by that time anyways. So that's a time where you just pin your ears back as a defense and you just attack because Dallas has no other option but to throw the football. And they just couldn't. It was just one of those days where we got their number. Now, I don't think the Cowboys are that bad of a football team. Okay? I don't. I think they're a lot better than that. Just wasn't their day. But we're not to be effed with. This Lions team is not to be screwed around on. It's not. I know a lot of people you'll see online, man. You face the guys with half their team out. That's the NFL, baby. That's the NFL. You go to any football game, and any game that was on yesterday, and I can pick and choose 2-3 guys that would have played that would have made a difference. So don't just tell me it was the Lions because we had guys out too. Maybe not of star caliber, but we had guys out too, and we beat you by 38. So. I don't want to hear it from any Cowboys fans, any Vikings fans, any Green Bay fans, any Bears fans that we didn't do shit yesterday because we did something. And you look nervous. You're worried. That's what you are. Up next, Minnesota Vikings, 1 p.m. up there playing Minnesota. 5-0 Vikings to the 4-1 4-1 Detroit Lions to the 5-0 Minnesota Vikings. It's the first division game for the Lions. It's time. It's time to go up there, man, and just beat them. You swept them last year. Let's start it off again with number 3. Third game in 2 years. So we'll talk more about that game. And I'm going to do a video on the Hutchinson thing. So it's coming either tonight, tomorrow. I haven't quite figured it out. But something's got to be done about this. The season is not in the toilet. It's not. There's a lot of people that think the season's over. Especially our rivalries, man. Especially our rivalries. They think the season's done. Now this hurts. Not gonna lie. But we'll get into it more because I don't want to talk about it right now because I don't want to spoil it for you and for me because I don't know what I'm going to say. So thanks a lot, guys. Shellacking. Jerry's World crumbling. 47-9 Detroit Football Lions. Great road game. Great road win. NFC matchup too, which is even better. And you're winning on the road. Bang. So let's go Detroit Lions. Thanks for coming and watching the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button in the bottom right. Don't forget the notification bell up top. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Appreciate it. Detroit Lions. Grit. Detroit versus everybody. Love you, number 97. Let's go. Boom.